me a lift, give me a lift, border to border, give me a lift, we're leaving, sure gonna be a ride. It's the Hitchhiker's Guide to Brexit, not quite.
What's that you say? When will there be something, anything, about Brexit on the news? Well, it's goodbye Belfast and hello part 2 of our Brexit road trip. We're on our way to Scotland across the Irish Sea, looking for any slight regulatory changes as we go. The sea's heavy tonight, but this old ironclad ploughs on regardless, like a Robert Peston two-way. No offence, Bobby. Luckily, I inherited the rock-steady sea legs of generations of ocean-going Smiths.
Are you alright, Steve?
Not really. In the ship's restaurant, we ambush Rosie, her husband, and her grandson Brodie, and they've kindly agreed to give us a lift. Very kind, I'd love that. Thank you very much. The crossing will see us land in Cairn Ryan. Then we head across the Galloway Hills to Dumfries to finish in Gretna Green, where quixotic alliances are lashed together in haste, in sharp contrast to a post-Brexit UK. Look at that, baby. We're supposed to be cadging lifts across the UK, asking what we might look like after Brexit.
You'll have to hold on, because it's bouncing.
Oh. It's a wild and stormy night, and who knows what awaits on Scotland's windy and windy roads. Ah, there's the duvet. Rosie works in the NHS. She cares for sick and dying people in their homes. And that £350 million bus pledge was a key factor in her vote, which was to leave. But the biggest issue for her is still immigration.
We do need the immigration for work and things like that. But it was when all the influx was coming in. That's
You're talking about the pressure on the health service, the
pressure
demand.
on that, yes, and the demand. Yeah.
Okay, so you think Brexit might get a grip on that?
Hopefully, yeah.
Despite turmoil in Westminster, Rosie thinks it's time to get on with things.
I think I'm fed up to the back teeth with listening to all the negative side of it all the time. We need to be more positive.
All the best.
All the best.
Bye-bye. Bye. It's a new day and we're hitching to Dumfries. For all the talk we've heard of food shortages, the government collapsing or a second referendum, it's hard not to be philosophical out here on the open road. Although it is getting a bit cold. Morning. Stop racing. Give me a lift. Are you rolling or are you waiting?
Rolling.
Wow.
Just in case.
I blame the sign. I think some drivers may be confusing us with fake news. Oh well, on with the hitching. No one must know about this. Good afternoon, how are you? Thanks for stopping. What happens on the 520 to Castle Douglas stays on the 520 to Castle Douglas. David Thompson says Brexit's already causing price rises, and those on the lowest incomes are feeling it first.
It's not a pessimistic view. I think we're all going to be out of pocket. It's the poor people that are going to get hit. So I'm already feeling it in my pocket already. Right. And I think the prices are just going to go up on everything.
We've reached Dumfries, and this most Scottish of towns, with its links to Robert the Bruce and Rabbie Burns, is as good a place as any to test the weather. Scotland voted heavily to remain, and folk here will tell you that ain't no small potatoes. Good-looking mangoes. The Halpert family run a market stall on the high street. How are you liking this whole Brexit business?
Oh, it doesn't bother me one bit. Oh, there, do you follow me already here?
Only if you want to, if you don't want to. John says 90% of his produce comes from Spain. He voted to leave, believing that veg prices would fall. It hasn't quite worked out as planned.
The price of the veg has actually went up in price.
Is that so?
I think so.
Yeah.
Well, the onions used to be £4.50 a bag wholesale this time last year, and they're £8.50 this year.
Have you seen these stories in the papers about people stockpiling things?
I have actually, aye. But
Have you seen any sign of that yourself?
I've seen them stockpiling a load of iron brew. That iron brew.
Really?
Aye. What are you doing today?
We're going to Gretna Green.
17-year-old.
Oh,
You never did.
I swear to God I did.
He ran away and get married.
I ran away and got married when I was 17.
How did it work out?
Oh, it was horrendous, mate. The marriage lasted about 4 months.
Really?
Aye.
All this talk about a second referendum, they must be getting used to them here by now. In 2014, the Scots voted 55 to 45 to reject independence. And just across the water is England. Just how split are Scots between their British identity and their European one? If push came to shove, would they jettison the former to save the latter? Gretna Green, here we come, hopefully. One thing that does need jettisoning is the Newsnight sign. Time to be more direct. Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm okay.
Well, that was easy.
What's with the...
Well, we're filming for Newsnight.
Oh my God.
Before Les can object too strongly, I've carried out a citizen's carjacking. He used to be a teacher, and he's in favour of a second referendum. He calls himself a soft nationalist and believes Brexit will help the cause of independence. Is there a connection, in your view, between Brexit and the whole independence issue?
Yes, I think there is.
Could you see a post-Brexit Scotland angling again for independence?
Yes, yeah, I think we could. Maybe not immediately, maybe just 3 or 4 years down the line, but I think the impact of the whole thing has to be brought home.
We've reached our destination, and to be fair to us, this is the first cliched Scotsman shot we've burdened you with so far. They've been marrying runaways here since 1754, although nowadays the business model seems to have expanded a touch. People from all over the world visit to get married, or shop, or talk to the BBC about Brexit. Where are you from?
Sheffield.
Sheffield?
Yeah.
Okay. So what's the story? You got married here?
We got married 25 years ago.
As teenage runaways?
Oh, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Were you?
No.
You defied your parents too, and they said it wouldn't last.
Yeah.
I know.
I want to ask you about Brexit as well.
Oh
dear.
No,
You're
don't get
excited
us
about
going.
that? That's going to spoil your
Don't
day,
get
though,
us
isn't
going
it?
on that one.
All right.
Yeah, it's not what was promised, I don't think.
How did you
Theresa
vote?
We voted leave.
Did you?
Yeah. Did at the time, but I don't think we were given enough information.
So what are you going to do now? You're going to have some champagne and...
We've just bought a couple of bottles of whiskey, might then have a whiskey.
Okay. Before I go and have a whiskey, I ought to say the next leg will take us through the north of England, to Sheffield in fact. By December, things might be clearer for all of us. Or not.
Busking Brexit, here